Hello. Y'all, you know you're getting older when your idea of a wild night involves a new flavor of tea and matching pajamas. Am I wrong? The other night, I was chuckling to myself as I shared this profound revelation with a very close friend while sipping my ginger and honey tea. Wild, I know. So wild. And we got on many different topics, of course, as friends do, hobbies, family, kids, animals, all kinds of serious stuff, as well as plenty of funny stuff, right? Um, Travel, food, all kinds of topics, all topics. Oh, by the way, speaking of food, oh my, I love, love, love traveling and trying different foods to learn about different cultures, food styles, flavors, all of that. I love it. It's like a treasure hunt for your taste buds. Each bite is like a little cultural adventure. That's the best part. But more than that, it's about the stories we share, the memories we make, and the connections we forge over just a simple or sometimes even an intricate shared meal, right? So by the way, I'd love to know some things that you all love, things you love to do, or what foods you absolutely love. I would love to hear. Oh, and by the way, speaking of love, let me officially welcome you all. Welcome, where I'll be there for you with food and friendship. I'm your very new friend, Devin Paz. So, like Phoebe's smelly cat, we might get a little messy, but we'll have a lot of fun, right? Phoebe from Friends. I hope I'm not the only one who used to watch the show Friends. Do you know show Friends from the 90s? Do y'all know what I'm talking about? I hope so. But on a serious note, this is Peace Talks with me, Devin Paz. Oh, and by the way, one thing I'm known for is being one of the least pickiest eaters in the world, or at least that's what my friends and family have said. So I just kind of run with it, right? Why not? Anyway, one thing my friend and I discussed last really stuck with me, mainly because I know I've experienced it. She said she's experienced it, so I can definitely imagine many others you have experienced it as well. Um, can it be hard to make friends, to keep friends, especially as we get older, right? To speak for myself, yes, it has been hard for me. Um, Remember when we used to spend hours talking with friends about our crushes and our dream careers? Now, as we're older, we're discussing the merits of different lint rollers and comparing notes on our favorite grocery store checkout lines, right? So, well, my friend and I discussed how this friendship dilemma can be for various reasons, right? So we started like listing off the many reasons. Each one feeling like a domino in the friendship struggle, kind of. For instance, there's the famous "I can't leave the house because my dog's sad" excuse, right? Guilty as charged, I know. Or the second one, the ever present "I'm so busy I forgot to shower" syndrome, right? Or the third one, the realization that some people are just, well, let's say they have the charm of a cactus, or those there's those days where your mood is just darker than your coffee, and human interaction just seems as appealing as a root canal, really. Or there's the "we used to bond over boy bands and now we can't agree on politics" conundrum. That's a whole nother topic. We'll leave that, excuse me, for another time. Or there's the constant juggling act of family, work, and remembering to even buy toilet paper. There's the bittersweet of reality of outgrowing old connections, unfortunately, like last season's fashion trends. And of course, there's a digital age where we're more connected than ever, yet somehow lonelier than a forgotten sock in the laundromat. So, as we rattled off these various reasons, I couldn't help but wonder how many of you out there are nodding along, maybe even adding your own to this list. Again, there are just so many reasons why it can be difficult to make friends and keep friends, right? Even the Friends gang had their struggles. Remember the Friends show? Remember when Phoebe lived on the streets, or when Chandler and Joey almost lost their friendship just over a chair? Making and keeping friends isn't always easy, but it is so worth it. So worth it. So I mentioned the digital age, right, is one way it can make it difficult. So think about during the big C, the pandemic, the pandemie. Please excuse my pronunciation if that's just not quite correct. That's just one way I heard it referred to by some during that time, okay? Excuse me, pardon me. So I know that during this time, it made it difficult to connect with others, even those that we already knew, right? Like our family, our friends. And it made it hard, especially for many of us, older generations who are just not used to this or not as up to date with technology and technological communication options, right? So there's a difference. And even as we have gone to normal, there's still things that hinder us from making friends or keeping friends. And much of the younger generations prefer digital communication rather than any sort of personal communication. Well, I believe, or so it seems like it to me. So, for instance, maybe your kids prefer to text instead of talking on the phone. I mean, does that happen to you? I experience that a lot. Maybe you do too. So, on Friends, it's like when Chandler got addicted to his computer game, and sometimes technology can isolate us, but we can also use it to connect like we're doing right now. So I was thinking, how can I enjoy my time, right? How can I enjoy my time? How can I make new friends and spend time with friends without fighting the system, the new age, the digital age? Excuse me real quick. My heater's getting really hot, so I'm going to go turn it down really quick. Pardon me. Just really quick. Sorry about that. I just realized too, you might have heard it. I'm sorry. But hopefully it won't be too bad. So anyways, what was I saying? So, oh yeah. So I was thinking, how can I enjoy my time, make some new friends and spend time with friends without fighting the system or the new age, the digital age, right? So I started thinking again when I like to meet new people, talk to new people, and also one of the times I have enjoyed being with friends, hanging with friends. It'd be easy to say like whenever, right? But I was trying to really narrow it down a bit. Um, for example, I'm not trying to make new friends or meet with friends when I'm about to take a bath, right? No, or doing chores or doing laundry, running to the store. That's not the time to make friends. So I was asking myself, when do you hang with friends and family? Or when would you like to hang with friends and family? So remember earlier I mentioned I love to try different food. So usually I personally make new friends while I'm out eating. I like to spend time with friends when I'm eating. I'm obviously a huge talker. So if I go to a restaurant, I almost always end up talking to somebody. There are so many times in life when I would be out eating with someone and that person would go to the bathroom, and when they would return, I would already be talking with someone, making a new friend. That's just like how it always ended up. So on a side note, back in the dating days, I did make it a point to let my boyfriend at the time know that I'm not ignoring him or I'm not flirting with people. Excuse me, when I end up like talking to someone when we were out and about. So I just somehow get into conversations with random people and make friends a lot. Um, Maybe you have gone to brunch with friends, or maybe you go to a cafe to have a work meeting and then end up talking to someone else in the cafe or at the brunch place after your meeting, right? Um, Maybe because they overheard your business conversation, whatever the situation might be, right? So although I am a talker, which may seem very obvious now, there have been plenty of periods in my life when I moved and was isolated and had no friends near me really, and then had to figure it all out from scratch again. So anyway, so with that said, I figured I would use technology to meet new friends, to shoot the shite, the chit chat, gab, schmooze, whatever it may be, right? So here we are. And I would love for you and I to be new friends. Please eat with me, try a new meal with me, and just shoot the breeze. Pretty please. By the way, do you know the etymology of shoot the bull? Have you ever heard that? I just found out, and it's pretty interesting. I just would have never thought. I'll make sure to share that fun fact a bit later, as I don't want my food to get cold, you guys. Okay, make sure to grab your meal or your snack too. Enjoy it with me. Let's just eat and chat. I'll give you some time while I put on an apron, okay? Yes, an apron. I tend to make a mess on all my clothes. Unfortunately, no matter how hard I try, I never fail myself. So, yes, I wear an apron, not just for cooking, but for eating too, right? So, let me grab my apron. Hold on. Everyone, look at my apron. I love it. I have so many different aprons. I'll have to share some time with you. Look at it. It's Friends. It's from the show Friends. Oh, shoot. I should probably get closer. Oh, my God. Oh, my goodness gracious. I just realized this is perfect for today. Making new friends, and I have a Friends show apron. Thank you, Lord. This couldn't be more perfect. Look at it. It has I don't know if I'm showing this well. It has a little like cutting board. It has a little spoon, and the print is Friends. So you can see it. I hope I'm showing it well enough. But yeah, oh my gosh, this is so perfect. Could this apron be any more perfect? As Chandler would say, it's a moo point, right? I know, cheesy. You know, like a cow's opinion. Anyways, it doesn't matter. But seriously, this apron is as iconic as Rachel's haircut. Anyways, all right. Back to attention. Come back. Have you all heard the pot roast parable? I've also heard it referred to as the pot roast principle or the pot roast proverb, or someone once said the big PRP, and other people knew that. That was a little silly and cringe, I know, but well, the pot roast parable, it's so fitting. It's a story used to illustrate many, many different meanings, lessons, morals, principles, truths, pieces of advice, so on and so forth. It recently came to mind because I was thinking about the various careers I've had and the people, the places and things in my life that have helped me grow. Just like good friends, you know? You know that feeling when you're in a meeting and you have a question burning a hole in your brain, but you're so scared to you're so scared to raise your hand? Yeah, I've been there. Not often, but I've been there. At a previous old job, it was like walking on eggshells made of nitroglycerin. The upper management there, they had this like uncanny ability to turn a simple why into like a federal offense. I remember I once saw a coworker ask about a deadline, and I swear you would think she insulted the CEO's mother or something. The manager's face turned redder than a tomato left out in the sun. And suddenly she was labeled as, oh, she's difficult and not a team player. Talk about shooting the messenger, right? It was such a minefield, I remember, of egos and bad days, and you just never knew if your innocent question would be met with a smile or a snarl. It really all just depended on whether the manager had their morning coffee or if Mercury was in retrograde. Kidding, of course. But then I remember like a ray of sunshine breaking through the storm clouds. There was Tim. Let's call him Tim for story's sake, okay? Oh, Tim. Tim was different. He was the kind of manager who made you feel like Like your question was the best thing since sliced bread. He was so wonderful. Excuse me really quick. Pardon me. I'm going to rub my nose. I felt like it was bothering me. Excuse me. So anyways, yeah, he, like, your questions were the best thing since sliced bread. And I remember the first time I was mustering up the courage to ask him about a confusing like project detail or something, and I was bracing for impact, but instead Tim's face lit up like a kid on Christmas morning. Great question, he beamed. Let's dive into that. It was like he'd handed out these permission slips for curiosity. Excuse me. And suddenly our team meetings turned into these vibrant brainstorm sessions, and people that were like human statues before were now animated. They were engaged. They were sharing ideas left and right. It was so wonderful. Now, looking back, I don't think Tim realized he was like our workplace Gandalf, guiding us through all these treacherous mountains of corporate confusion. But his openness to questions, it was like miracle grow for our confidence and creativity, pretty much. You could see it in the way our team's projects improved, how we started anticipating problems before they arose, or how we became this like well-oiled machine of innovation, right? It was wonderful. And Tim, he was right there, basking, I remember, in the glow of the team that was firing pretty much on all cylinders. It was so wonderful. And it was during one of these like ask me anything sessions with Tim that I was reminded of the pot roast parable, the tale about questioning traditions and the unexpected places where wisdom can be found, right? So new friends, let me introduce you to the pot roast parable. This is where the pot roast parable came to mind. The story is not just about wasted amounts of cheap cuts of beef, all right? The truth is about what happens when we don't ask questions, even simple questions, when we make assumptions. So first, in honor of the pot roast parable, I do want to show you this delectable, heavenly, savory pile of palatable pot roast. Yummo. Okay, so it's a little plate. Let me put my gravy on. Some people don't agree with me, but it's my food. I'm going to eat it how I want to. I have pot roast with mashed potatoes and veggies, and I like to put I like to put gravy on my pot roast. And I know some people don't. So I have my pot roast, I have my mashed potatoes, and I have my veggies, and it came out so good. So tender, so juicy. I'm so excited. Okay, so remember, we are eating together as friends and chatting, so please excuse my talking and eating and all the mess and sounds that come with it, okay? Okay, so as the parable goes, let me take a bite real quick. Oh, yeah, mashed potatoes, my absolute favorite. Oh, I'm making gravy out of the pot roast sauce. It's so good. That makes the pot roast so tender. Oh, so good. Let me take a bite out of the pot roast. So good. Not too salty. The brine is so good. We have our veggies, of course. I know some people don't like veggies. I told you. I pretty much like everything, so. Hopefully you have a snack or something, your meal, right? So good. And yeah, just sparkling water, but okay. So the pot roast parable. Picture this: a cozy kitchen filled with the aromas of spice and love, right? Excuse me, let me wipe my mouth real quick. So, like I said, I'm gonna tell like a story. There's this cozy kitchen filled with aromas of spices and love, and there's a young Amara. Her apron is dusted with flour, right? And she's preparing her first pot roast for a special dinner. And she has her best friend, let's say Devin. I'll happily insert myself into the story. So Devin watches curiously, right, as Amara is confidently, she's slicing off both ends of the roast, and before she nestles it right into this pan, right? So why do you do that, I ask. My eyebrows raised in genuine curiosity. So Amara pauses, knife in hand, right? So suddenly realizing she doesn't really know the answer. You know what? I'm not quite sure. It's just how my mom always did it. So the question gnaws now at Amara, right? Like an itch she just can't scratch. So then later that week, while visiting her childhood home, she finds her mother in the very familiar kitchen preparing the very same dish. And so Amara, Amara asked her mom, why do we cut the ends off of the pot roast? And her mom hand slows down while she's working and cutting the meat, and she ponders the question for a second, right? And she says, well, honey, that's how grandma always did it, and I learned it from her. So curiosity now burns in both their heads, right? Or in their hearts. So during their next visit to grandma's nursing home, they broach the question, right? And grandma's eyes twinkle with amusement as she reveals pretty much a simple truth. Oh dears, she chuckles. I only did that because my old pot roast, or excuse me, my old pot was just too small for the roast. I had to trim it to make it fit. So at that point, think about it. 3 generations of women are now sharing a hearty laugh, and they're realizing that what they thought was some sort of culinary tradition was just simply a practical solution to a long gone problem. Pretty cute, pretty sweet, right? I'm telling you, I like veggies. I know a lot of people don't, but I like my veggies. Hopefully most people like mashed potatoes. And if anything, you're enjoying your meal, your little snack with me, please. And thank you. So good. So good, so good. Okay. So this story reminds us that sometimes the why behind our actions can get lost in time. Think about it. It's like a gentle nudge to question our habits, to seek understanding, and to be open to change, right? After all, growth often begins with just a simple question: why? So you can learn why something is done that way, or on the path to how it's done. So what can we learn from this delicious tale of roast and revelations? Let me take a few bites, and then I'll serve you up a few bite-sized morsels of wisdom to chew on. Oh, mashed potatoes. Carrots? I know. Some of you don't like your veggies, but so good. Leave them for me. I'll eat them. No problem. One bit. So, like I said, a few morsels of wisdom, right? So first, about asking questions. You know what they say. Curiosity didn't just kill the cat, it made it wiser. Never be afraid to ask why. Who knows? You might just uncover like a family secret or avoid wasting perfectly good pot roast ends, right? Like Amara and her mom, and probably me if I, followed her recipe. So now when it comes to making friends, which, let's face it, can be as tricky as getting the perfect sear on a roast sometimes, so here's a tasty tip. Think about it. A compliment is like a boomerang. Throw it out there and it might just come back with a new friend attached. So think about that. Again, I'll say it again. A compliment is like a boomerang. So take that compliment, throw it out there, and it might just come back with a new friend attached. Okay. So this week, go ahead, tell them whether you're in gym class or you're at work, or tell your neighbor that you like their shirt, you like their smile. Tell them something. You never know where it might lead. You never know. We want those compliments too, but we don't always get it. But that's okay. We can give them, and you know what? When you give it, a lot of it comes back. Part of the boomerang. So good. And finally, let me take another bite, and I'll tell you the finally. Okay. So then finally, let me share. There's a little something from my very favorite book, Proverbs 18:24, and it says, a man, hold on, let me finish. So again, it's Proverbs 18:24, and it says, a man who has friends must himself be friendly. So think about that again. A man who has friends must himself be friendly. It's like the secret, it's like the secret ingredient, any good recipe. You've got to put in what you want to get out, right? So let's start by being a friend to ourselves and in turn to others, right? So these are just a few nuggets to savor as we continue our journey of friendship and food, right? Don't get me wrong, I love the pot roast, but the mashed potatoes are my absolute favorite. So good. So good. Oh, speaking of which, let's keep digging into this pot roast. It just smells so amazing, doesn't it? Oh, I wish we had smell-o-vision. Oh, okay. Let's keep chatting a little bit more. I'm just drinking sparkling water. What's good to drink with pot roast? I don't know. So, before I forget, there's one more thing I promised. Was the etymology or the origin about shoot the bull, if you've heard that. Or as Joey might say from Friends, how you doing with words? A phrase, shoot the bull, or as Monica might say, the clean version of a not so clean phrase. It turns out, excuse me. I hope I don't have a bunch of stuff in my teeth while I'm talking to you guys, but if I do, sorry. So anyways, it turns out this expression has quite the story, actually. So back in the day, folks used to say, shoot the breeze. So imagine a group of friends, maybe like the Central Park Friends gang, or from the Friends show, just sitting around and they're chatting about nothing, right? Nothing important. It's like they're trying to shoot the wind with words. So not exactly a challenging target, right? So this phrase, it eventually first popped up during oh my goodness, excuse me. Oh my goodness. So the phrase first popped up around during World War I, and there was a U.S. private. He wrote a poem about his corporals, and he was saying that they were great at breeze shooting, but not so great at actually working. So, sound like anyone we know? Chandler at his data job on the show Friends again, just a reference. So later on, hold on, let me take another bite. So good, mashed potatoes. So later on in the 1940s, people started saying shoot the shiitake mushrooms. Well, they use a different word for stuff, right? If you get what I'm saying. It's like they thought breeze wasn't strong enough or something to describe chit chat, I suppose. Even Holden Caulfield, that famous teenage rebel, used a version of this in the book The Catcher in the Rye. I don't know if you heard that, but he said shoot the crap. So eventually people ended up coming up with their own version, which shoot the crap is about as edgy as we're going to get on this friendly channel. Okay, so keep that in mind. So there you have it. A new fact. There you have it. Next time you're having a good old gab fest with your friends, you can impress them with your fancy knowledge of chat-based idioms, I suppose. Just don't let Ross hear you, or he might give you a whole lecture on linguistics. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know. Well, I really wish you all could smell and taste all of this. The pot roast is so tender. I poke at it and it just falls right apart. Mmm. And I like to put gravy over mine. I like gravy on a lot of things, but my mashed potatoes, biscuits, all of that. Excuse me. So good. Well, friends, our time together is drawing to a close. So, like our pot roast is almost done being devoured, remember, life is a lot like cooking. Sometimes you need to just trim the unnecessary parts, ask questions about the recipe, and most importantly, share the meal with good company, always. So until next time, keep your friends close, your aprons closer, and in the immortal words of Phoebe Wu Fei from Friends, I wish I could, but I don't want to. Just kidding. I absolutely want to see you again soon. Take care. Bon appetit. Ciao. 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 See you next time.